You failed the same goal 3 times this year, maybe 4, and every single time you went back to the same explanation: I just didn't try hard enough. I wasn't disciplined enough. I just needed to want it more. But here's the question nobody asks. What if the problem isn't how hard you're trying? What if the entire approach is wrong? Effort without a system is just exhaustion with extra steps. You can want something deeply, work toward it genuinely, and still go nowhere. Not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because you're using the wrong mechanism entirely. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that mechanism is, why it works when nothing else does, and how to build it starting today. Let me describe something. Tell me if it sounds familiar. You decide you're going to change. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's finally working on that project. Maybe it's getting consistent with your health. You feel genuinely motivated. You make a plan. You start strong. Day 1 is great. Day 2 is great. Day 4, still going. And then life happens. A bad night, a stressful week. One day you skip, and somehow that one skip turns into 3, and then a week has passed, and the whole thing is gone. So you restart, with even more determination this time. And then it collapses again. And somewhere underneath all of this, a quiet question starts forming. One you're almost afraid to say out loud. Why is this so hard for me when it seems so effortless for other people? The answer is not that you lack willpower. The answer is that you are relying on motivation where you should be building a system. And those two things are not the same. They don't even operate on the same mechanism. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings fluctuate. They respond to your sleep, your stress, your environment, what you ate, what someone said to you this morning. Motivation will be high on some days and completely missing on others. If your entire progress depends on it being present, your results will be as inconsistent as the feeling itself. A system doesn't care how you feel. It just runs. Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, wrote about this in his book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. His argument was simple but radical. Goals are for losers. Systems are for winners. Before you disagree, he wasn't saying ambition is wrong. He was saying that a goal is a destination. It tells you where you want to end up, but it says absolutely nothing about what you are going to do on a Tuesday morning in week 3 when motivation has completely vanished, when you slept badly, when there are 20 other things competing for your attention, and when the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels almost discouraging. A goal gives you no answer for that Tuesday morning. A system does. Because a system is not about how you feel, it's about what you do. And what you do consistently over time is the only thing that actually determines where you end up. So what exactly is a system? A system is a set of specific behaviors that happen at specific times in a specific sequence without requiring you to make a fresh decision every single day about whether to do them. And that phrase, without requiring a fresh decision, is where all the power is. There is a well-documented psychological phenomenon called decision fatigue. The quality of your decisions deteriorates the more decisions you have to make throughout the day. Every morning you spend deciding whether to exercise, deciding when to start work, deciding what to tackle first. That is your best cognitive energy going toward logistics instead of actual output. A system removes those decisions entirely, not because you're a robot, but because you already made the decision. Now it just runs. Benjamin Franklin was simultaneously a scientist, writer, diplomat, inventor, businessman, and founding father. He wasn't superhuman. He ran on a system. Every morning began with one question written in his journal: what good shall I do today? Every evening ended with one review: what good have I done today? He tracked 13 personal virtues in a small notebook and reviewed his adherence to each of them every single week, not to punish himself, to maintain awareness. Because you cannot improve what you do not measure. His extraordinary output across a lifetime was not the result of genius alone. It was the result of making productive behavior the default rather than the exception. That is what a system does. It makes the right thing the easy thing. Now let me tell you the single biggest mistake people make when building a routine. They design it when they are feeling motivated. Sunday evening, you're inspired. You map out this beautiful daily structure. 5 a.m. wake up. Exercise. deep work, healthy meals, reading before bed. It looks incredible on paper, and it works for 3 days because you designed it for the best version of your day. You never designed it for the Wednesday when you slept 4 hours, have a difficult conversation ahead, and everything feels heavy. A real system is not designed for your best days, it is designed for your worst days. Because your worst days are the ones that determine whether your system is real or just a plan. If it can survive a bad day, it's a system. If it can only survive a good one, it's just an intention. So here is how to actually build one. Your system needs 3 things. First, anchor habits. 2 or 3 non-negotiable behaviors that happen every single day, regardless of how you feel or what's happening. These are your foundation. James Clear in Atomic Habits calls this habit stacking, attaching a new behavior to an existing one so the old habit becomes the trigger. You already make coffee every morning. Stack 5 minutes of writing your 3 most important tasks onto that. You already brush your teeth at night. Stack a 60-second review. Did I do my 3 tasks today? That's it. None of these feel dramatic. Second, a time structure. Most people have a peak cognitive window of roughly 2 to 4 hours somewhere in the first half of their day. During this window, your ability to think clearly, focus deeply, and do genuinely difficult work is at its highest. Outside this window, particularly early afternoon, cognitive performance drops measurably. This isn't weakness, it's biology. Your hardest, most important work goes inside that window. Protected. No email, no messages, no easy tasks that feel productive but aren't. Everything administrative goes outside it. Here's the painful truth. Most people do this completely backwards. They start the day clearing their inbox, they burn through their peak cognitive hours on low-value work, and then attempt their most important work in the afternoon when capacity is already diminished. You don't need more hours. You need to do the right work in the right window. Third, a reset mechanism. This is the piece almost nobody builds, and it's why most systems eventually collapse. You will have bad days. You will miss a day. This is not failure. This is guaranteed. The question is not whether disruption will happen. The question is what happens next. Most people treat a broken streak as a reason to restart everything from zero. They lose all momentum. Restarting takes enormous energy. They delay it. One bad day becomes a bad week. Your reset mechanism is simply a pre-decided low-friction way to re-enter after a disruption. If I miss a day, I do a 5-minute version the next morning to re-engage. Not the full version. Not a punishment. Just a re-entry point. The streak ends. The system doesn't. Now here is the part most productivity content completely misses, and it might be the most important thing I say. When you follow a system consistently, especially in the early weeks when external results are minimal and it feels like nothing is happening, something deeper is happening. The system is changing your identity. James Clear describes this precisely. Every time you act in accordance with your system, you cast a vote for the kind of person you are. One vote doesn't decide anything, but enough votes in the same direction, consistently over time, and your self-concept shifts. You stop being someone who is trying to be disciplined. You become someone who simply is. You stop being someone who is trying to build something. You become someone who builds things. That is just who you are now. And identity is the most powerful driver of behavior that exists, because it is far easier to maintain behavior that is consistent with who you believe yourself to be than to force behavior that contradicts your self-image. This is why the early weeks matter so much even when you cannot see results yet. You are not just building outputs, you are building evidence about who you are. And that evidence compounds, slowly and invisibly at first, and then in ways that become impossible to ignore. So here's what I want you to do. Not next week. Right now. Define 3 anchor habits. The 3 behaviors that if done every single day for the next 90 days would move your life forward more than anything else. Write them down. Make them specific. Make them small enough to survive your worst day. Attach each one to something that already happens in your day. Identify your peak window. When is your thinking sharpest? Block that time. Protect it. And before you open a single message or check anything, Do your most important work first. Build your reset. Decide right now what you will do the morning after a bad day. Make it simple, make it easy to re-enter, and review every single week, not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty, to understand what worked, what didn't, and what to adjust. A system that isn't reviewed is a system that cannot improve. That is the whole thing. It is not complicated. It does not require you to become a different person before you start. It requires you to build a structure that works for the person you already are on your good days and your bad ones. The people who make success look effortless are almost never more talented than you. They are not more motivated than you. They are not working harder than you. They just built something that runs whether they feel like it or not. Build the system. Let it run. Get out of the way.